Alright, so last time, we saw the very ending cutscenes of Elpis, where we had to leave Vana behind to complete her vigil, walking through the trials and tribulations laid before her as we went back to our time to fight the battle in present. We got back just in time for shit to hit the fan. Fortuno was leading some of Radzet Han to the moon teleporter, only for them to be attacked by blasphemies. So the Scions and myself saved the day, and in return for the favor of saving the day, we asked the Fortuno to try and get the Forum to tell us of their grand plan to escape the star. So we got to learn about their spaceship, and Alphino proposed to them, if we can make your spaceship better, because right now it is not efficient enough to get enough people off the planet that they want, we would like to propose another use for it. And they're allowed to refuse, but so for now, we have called up a bunch of our friends. They're going to help bring supplies to build this goddamn spaceship. We hung out with the Loperates, and then we saw the most heart-wrenching cutscene in the planet, where they ripped our hearts out in Square Enix headquarters because these two are the parents of the character who died back in 2.0, and they reunited with Urianger, who was in love with the character who died back in 2.0. Square Enix really was like, man, this character's been really depressed for 6 years. Let's make him cry. And they had a big reconciliation because he was afraid to see these two, but they were like, yo, dude, we've known you since you were a kid, and the only thing we were mad about is that we couldn't mourn her with you. And now, we continue onward. Urianger feeling better. Thou hast my gratitude for lending courage to the Loperates. Not disposed to rest on their laurels, several of our guests have elected to accompany my countrymen to their stations. Some few may still come hither seeking counsel, and so I shall remain to aid them as need be. Thou art needed elsewhere, do not let me detain thee. As a matter of fact, I was hoping you might check in on Alize. Last I saw, she was struggling to carry an enormous pile of boxes out the west gate. I could go myself, but we both know whose help she's less like to scorn. Not to mention that, much to my misfortune, I can think of several other things I ought to be doing. Until later. We are in the final stretch. Everyone is preparing for the Great Exodus, and we are trying to see if we can improve the ship to, instead of flee, try and use it to go confront Medion at the edge of the universe. Ileana, what are you doing out here? No, I don't mind if you help with the boxes, but it's far from the most exciting of tasks. Are you sure? Well, I appreciate the assistance. We need to get these to Aporia. Time is short, of course, but they're full of organic specimens and samples, so try not to be too rough with them. Alphino should be waiting for us when we arrive. I'll see you there. I'd feel when not allowed to sprint with Crate. Go, Kin, go. Oh, you're helping with the crates. Wonderful. You can put that there with the others. You have my gratitude, but how did you come to be involved in this? Ha! Then I suppose I have Thancred to thank as well. You're wondering why we were tasked with bringing these boxes to Aporia to begin with. So was I. It turns out that this is a base of operations of sorts. Those with final say as to what is included in the ship's manifest can be found here. Father included, I suspect. That should be everything. You carried all of that at once. Are you trying to injure yourself? Oh, hush. They're lighter than they look, and not everyone has your delicate arms. I suppose we should let someone know that we finished. Leopoldin is in the courtyard. We can report to him. Why don't you come along? You should get credit for your assistance at least. Considering where we are, we might even learn something interesting. Gods, it never ends, does it? What can I do for you? We brought samples from Charlian Hamlet, Series 110. The crates are by the entrance. Ah, thank you. I had expected one of my colleagues, but we are dreadfully short-handed. Just a moment. You're Fortuno's children, are you not? Alfino and Alize at your service. You're well acquainted with Father, I take it. Quite. I've been friends with your parents since our days at the Studium. I remember when you were yay high, waddling hither and thither. Clearly it's been quite some time since we've met. It is good to see you again, wielding your father's nulith, no less. You knew our parents when they were young. What were they like? Pray, spare no detail. I should like nothing more than to regale you. Alas, I am meant to be in charge here, and reams of paperwork want for submission. We could help with that, in exchange for the sort of stories our parents would never willingly divulge, of course. Very well then. There happens to be 3 sets of documents that need a delivery, so how about you each take one? Wait right there. You'll find a forum representative waiting to collect these near the southernmost structure. I hope I haven't kept her waiting too long. Never mind Alfino and Alize. I'm certain they'll be back soon enough. Southernmost structure. Maybe not the southernmost structure. There we go. Are you not one of the scions of the Seventh Dawn? I thought you were meant to be working on the Aether Burner. Leopold's paperwork. I was beginning to worry he'd misplaced his quill. I appreciate your help in seeing these documents to my hands at last. As for your other task, pray keep this between us, but I sincerely hope you scions succeed. The Exodus is, without a doubt, the most monumental undertaking in the history of the Forum, and so we must be circumspect in all respects. Risk is a privilege we cannot afford ourselves. At its heart, however, Charlian has ever been a nation of the curious. It would be a tragedy indeed if we were the ones to stymie your pursuit of truth. Quick and efficient. I dare say you have a talent for this work. The twins' papers only needed to be delivered out to elsewhere in the facility, so they should be returning any moment. We return with not a scrap of paperwork remaining on our persons, you will note. You both have my thanks, and my apologies for sending you on an errand far below your ambitions. Why, and as a babe you struggled out of your swaddling clothes, and... That is quite enough of that, thank you. It was compromising stories of our parents that we'd asked to hear, to reiterate. Of course, of course. I've known your father for so long, I must have something. Well, as you know, part of why the Levayor name garners such respect in Charleon is your family's storied history. You too can trace your ancestry directly to those who came aboard Nunkrup's Hope, a lineage few can claim. Never thought much of it myself. It's not as though our forebears founded our nation. They were simply there when it happened. Nevertheless, it has traditionally been a point of pride. It is why Nunkrup's pronouncement, renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason, has ever been our family's creed. Until your grandfather's time, aye. Archon Louisoix looked not to Nunkrup's words, but his deeds. He asserted, in defiance of his peers, that choosing to save the great and the small from the rising tides was the true mark of our founder's virtue. Perhaps it was his expertise, his knowledge of ancient prophecy and the fall of civilizations, that led him to conclude that to eschew conflict at every turn was to consign mankind to his doom. There will ever be conflict, and calamity will follow. Thus, to ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. You remember his words well. Indeed, Archon Louisoix lived by that personal creed, and used every means at his disposal to bring succor to those in need, Charleon or no. No one loved and admired your grandfather more than his son. Yet Fortunato could not reconcile Louisoix's deeds with the philosophy of their forebears and his peers, a philosophy in which he believed so fervently, yet made a pariah of his father. Fortunato agonized over this contradiction for much of his life. God's father. Son may carry his father's blood, but his choices are his own to bear. Is it not always thus? God knows Fortunato's a cranky old goat, so I'm sure you butt heads often enough. Yet even so, you must know that you are constantly in his thoughts, every moment of every day, and that is not an exaggeration in the slightest. You should have seen him when you were born, barely recognizable. He was with a kind of dumbfounded grin I'd not seen since he first took a fancy to your mother. He was practically skipping when he told me the news. Take my word for it, he loves you to an embarrassing degree. But he is also frustratingly single-minded. Once he's decided that a given action is for the best, he will stay the course, no matter who or what opposes him. A profoundly annoying habit when you're on the other end of it, as I'm sure you'll agree. I'll say, thank you for your insight. When next we meet our parents, I shall mention that we spoke. Try not to get me into too much trouble now. I need the forum on my side. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back to work. I have to make sure those specimens you brought make it to their proper places, or the cranky old goat will have my hide. We can speak again later. Hail, you three. Graha, surely Kokol hasn't driven you out of the forge already. For better or for worse, no. However, he has set me a task that requires more than my single pair of hands, and here you are. I could use at least one of you, but I won't object to more. Unfortunately, Alize and I have prior commitments, and we have delayed it too long as it is. What about you, Kinliana? Can you spare the time? Perfect. This shouldn't take long. In the event that our, and I quote, promised heap of adamantite falls right out of the bloody sky and into my lap, Master Kokol wishes to be ready to put the proverbial hammer to anvil at a moment's notice. To fabricate these parts, however, he needs the flames of Kokol's forge to burn hotter. He sent me to increase the amount of ether being funneled into his furnaces. The flow of fire aspected ether in Labyrinthos is regulated by an elemental reactor south of here, to which I have borrowed the key. The adjustment will require 2 people to carry out safely, but I can explain the process when we arrive. This is the part where we part, then. We'll see you in Charleon Hamlet once the adamantite arrives, if not before. This way, then. The reactor is housed within this facility. I'll be the one to go inside and adjust the fire ether output. When I do, a rather large amount of water-aspected ether will issue from the vent at the top. I expect this to attract at least a few elementals, which we would both rather not be drawn into the reactor itself. Trust me. Can I ask you to put down any that draw too near? They'll pose you little trouble, I'm sure. Wait here, if you would. Did everything go smoothly out here? I kicked their asses. I thought as much. No major complications to speak of inside, either. And the water ether appears to be venting properly. I expect Kokol will have seen a difference in his forge flames by the time I return. Since I have you, there was another matter I thought to discuss with you. Nothing terribly important, merely something I've been considering. Part of this I shared with everyone, yet you, and only you, have been to Elpis. As we have established, refined adamantite is a product of Alag, of the Empire's twilight years, in fact. It was a material which saw much use as part of Allagan's efforts to extend beyond the bounds of this world, Dalamud, of course, being the most prominent. Of those who would push further, expanded Alag's empire to encompass the heavens and the stars above, perhaps the greatest was its infamous technologist Amon. Did he remember his life as Hermes? I believe he had his own reasons. There is no evidence to suggest that he retained memories of his former life. He only joined the Asians once the Empire was all but dust, as you know. If not his memory, though, what drove him to pursue the idea with such fervor? This may seem far-fetched, but what if souls, like minds, have a personality, so to speak, a natural disposition towards which they are inclined? We know with relative certainty that it was the gross decadence of inexorable decline of Alag that moved Amon to resurrect Emperor Xande. The Empire's people spoke lightly of death and destruction, experimenting on those they deemed beneath them to fill the emptiness in their hearts. In facilitating Xande's return, Amon provided these languid souls with the means to free themselves from the mire of their own indolence. Or would have, had not Xande been convinced by his own death that life itself was meaningless. Amon's desire for his countrymen to conquer the heavens could only be a means to the same end, to instill the people with new purpose. Like Hermes before him, Amon was appalled by those around him, how those around him lived, but could never bring himself to believe that those lives were devoid of meaning. And both of them sought that meaning, that hope, in the distant stars. Such is my theory, anyway. Ultimately, it's the consequences of their actions which matter. Their motives are of no moment, and yet, to reach those stars on wings of adamantite, travel to the ends of creation and beyond, the promise of hope everlasting, that much I do understand. But enough musing for now. Why don't we go see how Kokol is getting on? Thank you for the good luck, have fun, Foxy. Hope you're doing well tonight. We do be here for a wind down session post a sad ending to a CSR run where I was dumb and used my light curtain on the wrong character. It'd be like that sometimes. Whew, I can feel those flames ablazing from here. Glad you found someone capable, Graha, but there's not much left for you lot to do. Unless you can conjure up that refined adamantite any faster. I do trust you to deliver on your promise, I do. Only... I hate waiting. I want that adamantite and I want it now. We, share your impatience, I assure you. Is there truly nothing else we can assist with in the meantime? I wish. This sitting about's unbearable. Pity the Forum frowns on recreational explosions. Well, so long as they can't prove it was premeditated, get you gone. I have mistakes to make. In that case, I suppose I should go and return the key to the reactor. I'll have one more look to make sure that nothing has gone wrong, unintentionally or otherwise. I'm certain there are better uses for your time, however. I will join you and Charlie and Hamlet anon. Teleporting 5 feet cause I'm lazy. If you wait here, your companions are bound to turn up sooner or later.
All set, I take it?
We finished what we could. Delivered supplies, tracked down escaped animals. Trivial tasks as they may be.
That's enough, don't you think? If there was anything more important still undone, that would be a problem in itself.
The vessel is essentially ready for departure. All that remains is to load the final batch of supplies and see everyone on board. Once we've readied the ether burner, that is.
Ah, had a feeling we might find you all here.
Our consultations with the Loperates, too, have run their course. Pleased I am to say that our researchers' concerns have for the most part been allayed, though some insist on making adjustments to the very end. For their part, Livingway and her peers have graciously offered to stay and keep the people company, lest any lingering queries go unanswered.
All that remains is to wait for the refined adamantite.
Alphino, are you there? It's me, Cryo. Your special delivery has arrived. Round up everyone and come to the harbor at once.
Speak of the devil. Let us go at once.
Forgive the intrusion, Master Fortuner. I bring urgent news. A great commotion has broken out in Scholar's Harbor. Your presence is requested with all speed.
Now, where might this delivery be? Oh.
Oh my.
I'm sure it's very important, but we cannot accept these without the proper permits.
By the 12! Surely, these can't all be...
Bleeding hellfire! They're bringing them by sea and by air. All these folks in these crates.
And more on the way. Got your adamantite right here. A bigger haul than any of these sorry bastards brought, and that's no lie.
Yes, because you were charged with seeing the shipments from Gridania and Uldar here, along with your own. Give credit where credit is due.
Sounds like the sorry whinging of a sore loser. An hypocrite to boot. Ain't no way a scrawny whelp like you took a dozen steps inside a Dalaman shard.
I'll have you know I went all the way to the entrance. Furthermore, 'twas my contacts that enabled us to enlist the cooperation of the Sky Pirates.
Left you outside so you wouldn't get anyone killed, did they? Well then, credit where credit's due, you did a right fine job sitting on your ass.
Take that back.
Make me.
I will not stoop to your level.
My, what a grand welcome party.
Hancock and Saraban.
We come bearing relics both sacred and Allagan, as well as a few other gifts that may be of help, to be presented with best wishes from the Eastern Alliance.
I myself have come with a sacred relic of Rayson Temple. 'Twas passing fortunate that Senri's dango craving brought us to Kugane. We arrived precisely as Hancock was making his arrangements. Upon learning of your need, we made haste back to Hell's Lid, with our dango, never fear, and consulted with the other auspices. All consented to the lending of Tenzin's legendary Phoenix Blade for this noble cause. Suzaku and Seiryu were nevertheless worried that it might be lost in transit, however, and insisted upon accompanying me to Onokoro, where I had intended to entrust it to our Confederate allies. I thought instead to give it over to Hancock when we chanced to cross paths yet again. But alas, Seiryu remained ill at ease, and ordered me see the blade into your hands personally, or die trying.
We did, of course, need quite the impressive vessel to get it all here in time. Fortunately, our majestic associates have been more than helpful. 'Tis an honor to join the Warrior of Light on another adventure, they tell me.
That is all wonderful to hear, but what of the extraordinary cost? I shudder to think of the ransom we must pay for such a bounty.
Fret not for your coin purse, young Alphino. Lord Lolorito looks ever towards the profits of the future, and thus the East Aldenar Trading Company went to some lengths to reduce the financial liability. And since the Scions funded the entire venture, not a gill need be rendered up in compensation. Everything is already yours.
We funded the venture? When?
Don't let the name fool you. This coin keeper knows a thing or two about spending. When it comes to capital investiture, a sprinkling of gil here and there will not do. You need enough savings to make waves when it really counts, which is why frugality is paramount. We also had the benefit of a generous patron. Generous being rather an understatement. She has supported us from the shadows since the very founding of the Scions. Ere we even had coffers to fill.
Mother!
Amelians.
I remain, of course, an entirely neutral party. I simply thought our family's coffers were needlessly full. We can hardly take them with us on your teeny-tiny toy boat, now can we? And would be a shame to leave all that hard-earned wealth unspent. Waste not.
Amelia Enslevier, the true Shadow Lord.
However did you manage so much in so short a time, though? We expected word to reach only a fraction of our allies.
Did I not tell you I have my ways? Erenville, you were involved too.
I received a letter from Cryo after we parted ways in Labyrinthos. She explained what the Scions were trying to accomplish, and why you might soon require the services of the Gleaners, spread across the world as we are. I pray you do not interpret this as a betrayal of Charlotte. I accept that the Forum's aim in pushing us to our limits was to preserve what knowledge we have, and I bear you no ill will for it. Yet, in collecting that knowledge, what I came to appreciate most about our star is that there remains so much we do not know. That is why I chose to help the Scions, to combat the obliteration of those countless, undiscovered wonders. I held no illusions that they would be less demanding taskmasters, though, rest assured, if I had, I would have been sorely disappointed. To make a long story short, the whole of the guildship cooperated to ensure your call was heard far and wide.
What's this about a ship that can fly to the moon? And why didn't you mention it sooner? The one time you don't beg my aid, your problem's a bloody ship that can fly to the moon.
Sid, you brought the team.
Of course. Garland Ironworks' finest. You need only point us towards my new favorite ship. Oh, I nearly forgot. We stopped by Whirlit before coming here and picked up a package from Gaius. He's still of the mind that actions make for better penance than words, contrite or otherwise, so we offer none of the latter. What he sent is an Allegan relic Valens used in his weapons experiments. Has a fair bit of refined adamantite in it, too.
As you like us not suspect, we've also brought adamantite for Mordona's Dalamud shard. I admit to some consternation upon first receiving Kryl's message. So few Scions remain at the Rising Stones now. Far too few for such an expedition. However, the Gleaners were able to secure us reinforcements. Idleshire's treasure hunters, not least among them. I know. How the Gobbyflock fought. Slowfix's gratitude for the safe return of his daughter has not waned, and he gathered his kin to our side with an astounding quickness. The clash between their machina and the Allegan defences was a sight to behold. I wager even you would have been impressed by the magnitude of the Gobby booms.
Fascinating as all this is, I fail to see how it explains your presence here. Does Razat Han not have more pressing concerns?
We do. Yet averting the final days would be the most expedient solution. That, and I am indebted to you. Though they chose to take their leave of Thavnair, those you saved in Galimund remain my people. My gratitude is beyond words. 'Tis appropriate that I aid you in kind. If in the doing we bring salvation to others of this star, so much the better. You will recall that I spoke of my father, Midgard Summer, and his journey across the great expanse. As he traveled betwixt the stars, his resplendent scales drank of the ether in those nigh empty surrounds, and imparted to him the strength to persevere. Thinking they might further your cause, I called out to my kin for consent. Ashdai's answer was silence, as ever. Tiamat and Chris-Velgre, however, responded favorably to the suggestion. My sire, too, stirred from his slumber long enough to speak and say, "Very well." Thus have I brought you his own worm scales. Fit them to your purpose, and seek a worthier fate for us all.
You'd be hard-pressed to find someone else so familiar with the unique properties of dragon scales. So I invited myself along.
Bugger me, this is so unbelievable. I've gone right back round to believing it again. Forget a 6% gain in efficiency. With all these goodies, we could get 7, no, 10, no, 14 bleeding percent. Think of how far we could go! What we could do with that much power! What we could blow up!
If Kokol is duly convinced, then it must be true. In which case, the Scion's end of the bargain has been fulfilled. Would you not agree?
Yes, Father?
I know not what you seek of Hydaelyn, nor for what purpose you would take command of our ship. Yet this much is certain. To do so will be to dictate the fate of this star and the lives upon it. The lives of each and every creature, in their magnitude and their fragility. Do you understand? And are you prepared?
We have seen and we have felt how much each life shapes this world. And so we are determined to abandon none. We understand what is at stake, and we are prepared to bear this burden.
Then I will bear it with you. I beg you, share your struggles with me, as family. You grasped my fingers with such tiny hands the day you were born. I thought my heart might burst. It was love and happiness beyond expression. Overwhelming. And a conviction so powerful that I trembled with something close to rage. I had heard the final days foretold. I swore to myself then and there that I would not let them steal your futures. The great Exodus would succeed, must succeed. No sacrifice or sin was worse than the alternative. If anything gave me pause, 'twas mine own father. The Archon Louisoix openly decried Charlian's policies, a perspective which I regarded with increasing disdain as I grew older. Yet even as part of me thought him a fool, perhaps I also hoped that he, of all people, would devise a brilliant means to save my children. A naive hope, but stubborn enough that I could never bring myself to keep you apart. No, that was his doing, when he perished at Cartana. As we pulled that twisted slab of Dalamud from the sea, I remembered the warmth of your newborn touch. Chastened, I vowed never again to suffer any interference in my mission to protect you. No matter that you yourselves wished otherwise. Detest me, fight me tooth and nail, I would suffer it, and more, and be satisfied so long as I could force you onto the ship. I was wrong. You two have grown so much stronger and so much wiser than I dared dream. You have earned the right to walk your own path, and already begun to do so.
Good. Because there are things we care about, and people we love, and none of them is replaceable. Not a one.
It cannot have been an easy journey for you to have come so far.
We shall be glad to acquaint you with the finer details someday, once this danger has passed. All that we have seen and heard, that we have felt and learned in our travels. Ours is not a kind world, but it is beautiful. Always.
Oh no. Are you quite sure that's wise? After all, someone turns pale and flees the room when he sees so much as an envelope containing word of your adventures. Whatever will happen if he learns what you were really up to?
Amelians. Though I have wronged my children most gravely, I owe you an apology as well. I assumed that it was the Scion's influence that made them so keen to charge headlong into danger. Yours, in particular. I see now that said influence instead brought them together with the many fine people gathered here today. In which case, I hope you continue to guide them.
If we've finished loitering about the harbor, might I suggest we put our plans into motion? People are beginning to look confused.
Perhaps you can spare a few words ere they resume the tedious lugging of cargo. You've no small number of friends and admirers here, after all.
Lend us your strength.
Your assistance is appreciated. Now, in an orderly fashion, if you please.
Everyone is here. Factions from throughout the whole Vidya game. Because they really do be trying to tie up a story. We finally managed to clear the harbor, which means the rest is in the engineer's capable hands. Meanwhile, Father has issued to us an invitation. As we agreed, he will reveal the means by which Hydaelyn may be contacted. We are to meet him in Aporia when we are ready. Given the vital knowledge she holds, I suggest we leave without delay. It transpires, however, that the Forum's method for speaking with her is not without risks. I am curious to hear what those might entail, but regardless, be warned. Most of those who arrived at the Adamantite have offered to stay and see to any remaining tasks that need doing. The Forum has already asked for my assistance in overseeing the process, so you needn't worry about a thing. Thank you, Toshru. We're off to Aporia, then. Liana. I've already shown the others inside. You will want to speak with Clara Lane. She has the key to the lift and can send you down after me. We're the Master Fortuno, yes? Just step inside the lift here. From here, we proceed to the heart of Labyrinthos, and its most closely guarded secret, Thalmaizen. Marks the beginning and end of our efforts. Once we delve to seek audience with the star, once we will embark on our journey to the heavens. This way, if you please. It's a spaceship in a Final Fantasy game. Sci-fi in my fantasy. That's some Mass Effect shit right there. That's a game we have to finish. I bid you welcome to Thalmaizen. Direct your attention toward the center to behold the Ark, which we have long labored. As you can see, it was designed as a medium-sized craft, the better to reduce fuel consumption. Miniaturizing magics have been applied to its interior to ensure that the thrust-to-weight ratio does not place too great a limitation on its freight capacity. The ether burner, as you know, has been removed for further modification, but we shall reattach it soon enough. I've received word that Kokol and several of your allies are working on it with intense fervor. They are sure to see it done. It was by their expertise that many a prior disaster was averted. If anything, I fear they will not afford us much time for speaking with Hydaelyn ere they finish. Point taken. Let us move on. I must warn you again, however, that even with the benefit of our device, to treat with her is not a simple feat. done what I can to impress upon you the gravity of what lies ahead. Are you prepared? You make for the lift at the center of this chamber. Come. That's not the now button. Oh, I can't fly in here! Terrible. I know fly. That's so weird. It's part of Labyrinthos and it doesn't let me fly. It's like, no, you cannot fly near the spaceship. As you know, alongside our physical world exists an ethereal plane, what we refer to as the ethereal sea. At the heart of the star, the physical and ethereal are one and the same. Thus, the deeper we go, the easier it becomes to pass between said planes. We utilized this principle in constructing the anti-tower, and once more here in Thamizon. No sooner did the Forum decide to withdraw from Eorzea than we began work on this facility. Our work accumulated in a device that allowed us to peer deeper into the ethereal sea than ever before, in search of Heidelin's ever fainter echoes. The Ishoscope. And you communicate with her through this device? For a time, yes, but since the 7th Umbral Calamity, it has been rare to even hear a whisper. If you wish to reach her, you must journey closer to the center of the star than we ever have dared, beyond the Ishoscope. Even so, I make no guarantee that you will find her, nor of your safety, not so deep in the ethereal sea. We understand, but if we are to deliver this world, we have no choice but to try. I know. I only wish we could do more than observe your progress from afar. The Ishoscope's ocular lens, by which we may peer into the ethereal sea without placing ourselves at hazard, lies above us. Through it we can watch and guide you. In those swirling depths, there are pockets of aether so dense and turbulent that they can unravel one's soul. If we determine that you are at risk of coming into contact with one such pocket, we recall you with teleportation magics. To that end, it would be best if one familiar with the composition of your souls remained here to assist in assessing said risk. Otherwise, there's an increased probability that we will extract you too early, or too late. Please, allow me. I have thought upon this much, and, in truth, I do not believe that I am fit to join you in the trials ahead. The events at the Tower of Babel drained me, yes, but even before that, your capabilities far outstripped my own. This is no time to have a weak link in our vanguard, no matter how much she may wish it otherwise. If I assist in the manner that Master Fortuno has laid out, however, I may still be of use. Will you trust in me to do so? I can think of none I'd trust more. Compared to all that effort you put in keeping us alive while our souls were in the first, preventing us from dissolving into ether on a single expedition ought to pose no challenge at all. And even if we did, I expect you would hunt us down and restore us to health somehow. You flatter me, but rest assured that I will be keeping a close eye on all of you. There is one more thing. Those in ages past referred to the ethereal sea as the underworld, our final resting place. In its embrace, his memory washed away, leaving only the purity of one's soul, or so we believe. Yet what of these memories? You think to ask what becomes of them, cast adrift on ethereal tides. Some theorize that they linger for some time, those associated with strong sentiment in particular. In those depths, memories of the departed may even coalesce around you, for hatred or for love. Thus do I caution you to be wary, but also to have faith. Remember those who did gladly extend a hand to you, that they may lift you up once more. This dungeon and everything that comes after made me cry the first time I did it. so, we create a party to venture into the Ishoscope. Nope. The twins and Ishtola, my squad. And so we venture into the underworld, Ethereal Sea.
All seems in order with the lens, and I trust you can hear me. Those things are pure malcontent, the residue of lives unfulfilled.
Finally, I'm allowed to be level 90. This is the level 89 dungeon, but we do be reaching the end. Oops. I just shirked Alfino. Good job. Just trying to get low blow.
You underestimate me.
Golden light. And Ilberd. Unrelenting. This is the guy who betrayed us back in the days of post-Realm Reborn. bastard who took the crystal graves out from under Alfino's nose and attempted to assassinate the Sultana, ripped off Raubon's arm, and made us flee to Ishgard. In a rush of familiar wisdom, the memory of a principled scion takes form. Samadi's staff, representative of Papalymo, gave his life. Try as you might to conceal it, you've always worried overmuch. Papalymo gave his life to try and contain Shinryu, who was summoned when Ilberd committed suicide to create a primal in an attempt to free his homeland. Now this is Livia, the Undeterred. In A Realm Reborn, she was the woman in white armor who very much loved Gaius too much and worried that he would take him away from her. Also the sister of Lucia, who works for Ishgard. Never again will I yield to you.
You cannot stop us!
With you.
No, wasted an LB, no. My lord, Gaius.
Follow the flow of ether. It will guide you. The ether is too dense. Ah, I'm losing you.
Let's continue onward. Another golden light. This time, an axe. A rush of familiar affection, the memory of a valiant Archon takes form. That's Moon Greedus. A familiar delight, the memory of a kind-hearted knight takes form. Oshfall. Always a protector. Boss. As my life belonged to the Empire, in death I shall serve. Gaius no longer wishes this of you, Perfectus. Ryotan, the unshakable. The man who had two big ol' shield arms. He was simply a commoner, or at least sort of a commoner. But Gaius made him an officer through his merits, and as such, he earned Gaius' respect. Or Gaius earned his respect. I love that. Once upon a time, this man had his own duty, hate Westwind, but alas, that duty is no more. Deleted from the game. Now he's a fun single-player duty, though. on Belsar again. I failed you. You didn't fail it. Did you see that light? I knew we would meet here. Still don't know who the light is, but could it be? We haven't seen him yet. Continues to make us a path. Minfilia. Our thanks, Minfilia, for being our guide. She vanishes. The antecedent of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn gave her power to reign. It's here at the end of the underworld. Chance. Who could it be? We have lots of enemies. Here he is. Refusing to surrender. Amon.
Is as far as you go.
Fandaniel. Hermes. All of the above. Amon the Undying. Sundered Soul. Fandaniel's soul.
Many faces have I worn, but this is my favorite by far. You will persist in this folly no longer. The stage is set. Let the curtains rise for the main attraction!
Curtain call. Circus Tower. That was a big old attack, but a bracing wind leaps from the pages of memory. Azael is here once again to save us.
What a boorish audience you are!
You cannot stop us!
You underestimate me!
You cannot stop us! You cannot stop us! There!
You underestimate me! With heart!
lies! All lies! Your dreams, your hopes, your futures, delusions and lies!
Thancred and Mitchell have nothing to say. Come on, Thancred. We saw him in Philly again. You have nothing to say? Ugh. Alfino's remembering his ale.
My very essence begins to wane. Sweet, sweet agony.
Leave this to her.
Come to deal the coup de grace. Good. Watching you struggle against the inevitable is bad comedy. Erase me from existence, soul and all.
Have you any memories of Medion? Do you recall your days as Hermes?
How would you know that name? Then it was you. In Elpis. With Emmett Suck. The final pieces fall into place. In my halcyon days, as the mortal Ammon, I was haunted by a dream. Night after night, the faceless multitude, the voiceless cries, shards of shattered memories. But slowly, the fog began to clear. This was Elpis. And I was Hermes. Recurring though it was, I paid this dream little heed. It was only when I was granted the seat and memories of Fandaniel that I knew these visions to be true. They were the memories of Hermes that he himself erased using the power of Kairos. Or so he thought. In his attempt to burn away the events of that fateful day, he succeeded only in searing them more deeply into his soul. My soul. Death failed to expunge them, no matter how many times it came. Rebirth after rebirth, from one Fandaniel to the next. I wonder, is Emet adrift somewhere in this ethereal sea? In defeat, finally remembering your time together in Elpis? How it must gall him to be entrusted with knowledge of the final days, only to be rendered powerless to act upon it. So many lifetimes dedicated to restoring his beloved Amarok in blissful ignorance. Oh, folly. But make no mistake. My life as Hermes is not the reason I invited the world's end. I have lived. I have struggled. I have dredged the very depths of despair. And in the detritus of existence, I found the truth. I served a great ruler, powerful beyond measure. The world his dominion. Yet even he and his vast empire were destined to fall, to become one with oblivion. At the end of life's journey lies only death. So I ask you, why live at all? We betray, we torment, we murder. We are wicked, spiteful creatures, without exception. If life is so sacred, so precious, why fill it with such misery? Man wallows in a hell of his own making without purpose or meaning. To live is to suffer, and I would end that suffering by my own hand. It matters not if it flies in the face of all believed right and just. Death is the only solution! That is my truth, my answer to the question, and yet, even as the words pass my lips, I am filled with doubt. Has my search reached its end? Was this the only way? After all these years. Is this the answer I was hoping for?
The lamentations of the damned. How it vexes me to see your conviction falter at the last. Fandaniel, still clinging to existence, I see. You, who champion death so fervently, unwilling to accept your own, refusing to be purified and swept into the sea of souls. As do I. We prisoners to men, watching as the world turns. Though unlike me, You will be spared the ignominy of having your corpse made a puppet, dancing to another's tune.
Is that Asahi?
Asahi.
How
Boy,
very
Brutus.
astute. But let me be clear, I have not come to consort with the likes of you. Nor have I come to bemoan the state of the world following my untimely demise. In fact, I delight in mankind's downfall and the anguish it brings the savior of the savages. If I played some small part in the chaos, all the better. Not that I was in any position to resist. But to be made accomplice to the betrayal of Lord Xenos. I would die 1,000 deaths to exact my vengeance. Now you are at my mercy. I shall drag us both into oblivion, and you will never see the fulfillment of your magnum opus. Even should you be reborn, your desperate search for answers must start again.
Next time, we'll find the answer together.
Even here, even now, you have every right to hate me. For the fool I was, for the monster I became. But I will not beg forgiveness. The tale of Hermes, the man who knew so much, yet understood so little, ends here.
Don't try to follow me. I had more of you people than I could stomach in life. Never mind in death.
Likewise, I pray we do not meet again.
You had better hope not.
Oh, Asahi, the man who deserved the death he got at the hands of his sister Yotsuyu.
Come. Hydaelyn is waiting.
And here she is.
Brave travelers, I welcome you.
We meet again, Vana.
I see. Thou didst journey unto Elpis. And now, the rivers of time converge.
have come. Yet I would hear you speak your reasons all the same.
You created the moon to deliver mankind from the final days. But is that really how it has to end? We do not wish to abandon this world. We want to protect the source and all of its shards.
To flee is but one of two paths. The other leadeth to Meteon, far beyond the stars, where she doth chant creation's requiem. Her domain is formed of dynamis, pure, absolute. Where emotion and memory govern all, ether will avail you naught. Meteon hath gathered the pain and despair of countless stars, and to go unprepared is to go unto your doom.
We'll beat her. We'll win. I swear it. Is what I might have said once. After everything I've seen, all the times I've succumbed to my own anger and fear. I can no longer pretend that courage and faith will be enough. But are we truly so powerless? That our only choice is to flee?
Far from it, my child. Long ago, the inhabitants of myriad stars, many more prosperous than Atheris, sought to free their worlds from life's woes. Sorrow and anger, conflict and hostility, despair, and even death itself. But as Meteon reported, every attempt ended in failure. Darkness abideth within every living being, and can never be cast out. Neither reason nor faith can challenge this immutable truth. To live is to suffer. And in suffering, find strength and purpose and hope. As you have done so many times before. Thou dost pursue an impossible dream. Yet knowing this, you pursue it nevertheless. And thou hast learned to depend on others as they do thee. Thy yearning for the power to save the powerless hath ever driven thee to greater heights. Thou hast grown strong. Though those closest to thee no longer walketh by thy side, their love remaineth thy guiding light. For duty's sake, thou hast been bound by truths unutterable time and time again. Yet thy heart hath never wavered, as thy companions will attest. In thy pursuit of mysteries great, all thou believest is brought into question. Undaunted, thy thirst for knowledge remaineth unquenched. The fires of hatred that once burned in thy heart burneth no more. From their ashes doth spring the light of love, warm and pure. As witness to black calamity, thou despaired at man's helplessness. Resolved, thou didst unite a distant world on the brink of collapse. And thou, my champion, when all did seem lost, thou never abandoned hope. For every trial and every foe that did bar thy way, thou hast proven equal to the challenge, drawing courage from the many bonds forged on thy journey. You have all known despair, and though the end approacheth, you walk on, heads held high. Therein lieth your power, the strength to silence the song of oblivion.
Then there is a means to confront her.
Yes, if you should prove yourselves worthy. Hark! Nigh impossible is it to send mortals to the edge of the universe. Should you fail, there will be no second chance. As the will of the star, I ask of you this. Do you possess the fortitude to stand firm when all around you doth crumble? Do you possess the faith to vanquish despair itself? Should you lack the strength to best a supreme deity, I cannot allow you to make the journey. You must leave this star and never return. Prepare yourselves.
Prove ourselves worthy, eh? Sounds straightforward enough.
Aye. No room for confusion there. In any case, we've come too far to back down now.
I am of the same mind. What power I have, I shall bring to bear.
The three of you seem to be forgetting who we're up against. It's not every day we battle a divine being of untold power. Well, not quite every day. Do try not to get underfoot. Needless to say, there'll be no margin for error.
Let us hold nothing back. For the people of this world and those beyond the rift.
Alas, the question I posed to thee in Elpis hath remained unanswered these long years. I would hear thy response, warrior of light. Shouldst thou emerge victorious?
Has your journey been good? Has it been worthwhile? That cutscene gives me feelings. We can take on this party, this 8-man duty with our teammates. First ever 8-man trust. We fucking went and did it after that whole... You can't just, you know... You can't just have a whole friggin' monologue session and not let you take it on with the NPCs. I listened to this song on repeat when this Endwalker first came out. from a party to face Heidelin. The squad. Yeah, Urianger can be a DPS for this, but since I'm a tank, got to draw. Divine Light Eidolon.
I, the last of my kind, shall test thee. Come, prove thy worth.
Duty to give you 2 lives, 3 lives technically, I think. But yep, that's in our squad. Let's do it.
Have you the strength of will to alter man's fate?
You might!
Change of arms. May the test continue.
She changes from sword chakrams. Reminiscent of a duel we had many years ago.
And now this. Light unyielding.
I was not.
I have you now.
If I may.
You underestimate me.
His sword.
By blade.
The stars shall grant thee succor. Begone! Might. There! You cannot stop us! You might!
Where near or far.
This will hurt. This will hurt.
By blade. Crystals of light, to me.
Transition phase.
Here. The song of creation's end. Feel. The sorrow at hope's demise. darkness. Follow your light. Or fly, my children, and never look back. Then you are resolved.
Hold still.
But this test is far from over. My crystal's light. Let's give them a show. Light unyielding. I have you now. Refulgence eternal.
You underestimate me.
We're near or far.
You underestimate me.
We're high or low.
You now.
Be gone! Try and stop it!
By blade.
Away with you!
You underestimate me.
Succumb not to fear.
Be gone!
You cannot stop us.
Be gone!
We're near or far.
Prepare yourself!
There.
I will not hold back.
Light unyielding.
Oh, my GCD is too slow. Oh, that's what's happening. Let's slow it down. There we go, let's slow it down.
Prepare yourself! Be gone!
I'm missing my last fucking every time.
By blade!
You, Justinian, get out of here. That gamer. We win.
At last, man has the strength to.
Skill speed. What happened? GCD is just. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not in a full party. No, that'd be weird. Anyway, yeah, we defeated she who put us to the trial. All our chums beside us.
No! This can't be happening!
Though my power is in constant flux, I have always kept a reserve for this very moment. It was a true test of your prowess. You have done well.
There is one thing I must ask. By sundering the world into 14 shards, the ether of all living beings too was divided. This reduction would in theory allow us to more easily interact with Dynamis. Having seen mankind brought to the very precipice of extinction, you wished for us to develop a means to overcome despair. You believed we had the potential, and sundered all creation to see it fulfilled, to deliver us to that swirling maelstrom of Dynamis in which our foe hides, and grant us the power to defeat her once and for all. Is this not true?
It is as thou sayest. 'Twas the trial to which I subjected mankind, and it hath led to untold bloodshed and suffering. There was no kindness, nor justice in the tragedy I wrought. When confronted with the almighty Zodiac, My only recourse was rend him and the world asunder, that his power be diminished for a time. And so it came to pass. Now you, my chosen, have surpassed my expectations, surpassed me. I entrust the fate of the universe unto you. This crystal contains the memory of Meteion's passage through the stars. Deliver it unto the Loporrits. They will guide you to her.
Though they may be capable of crossing great distances, there is a vast difference between traveling to the moon and the furthermost reaches of the great expanse. And unlike Meteion, we cannot simply soar on waves of dynamis to our destination.
Indeed. To make such a journey would require an astronomical amount of ether. But a solution lieth close at hand.
Of course.
Yes, my child. Ever since I became the will of the star, the ether drawn here had slowly crystallized. They who have answered my call know it well. While I have remained hidden, it hath become the embodiment of the planet's will in my place. A faceless, omnipotent force of nature. The Mother Crystal, our final hope. Alas, I can do no more. The fulfillment of this task doth fall to you, my chosen. Now, heed these words. Darkness and light, despair and hope. As goeth one, so goeth the other. Become light, become hope. I have a gift for thee. Come closer. Long have I searched for a means to safeguard the future of this star. Though I knew failure after failure, by recalling thy tales and my promise to thee, I found the strength to carry on. Though the world is ever changing, thy thirst for adventure hath never waned. Thine unshakable resolve never ceases to amaze, to inspire. As a mark of my gratitude, I bestow this final gift. Thou dost possess the crystal of Azum, yes? As Hydaelyn, I reside over the forces of stasis, tranquility, peace. The laws which impart stability to existence itself. I will weave this self-same power into the crystal, granting thee mastery over matter, to give form to the formless. Use it wisely, or it will not last indefinitely. As thou hast seen on thy journey through the ethereal sea, souls are drawn to thee. Mayhap this trait will prove to be a boon rather than a hindrance. It is thy hopes and prayers that enable Azam's invocations and give them life. So keep them close. But pray, remember this. When the way forward is hidden, even from the mind's eye, look not to the invocation, but within yourself. These were the words of the crystal's original bearer. With that, my work is finished. Fulfill our promise. Right the wrongs committed when the world was yet whole. Silence the song of oblivion. Teach her a brighter melody. Show her our journey is far from over.
We'll find our way, Vanna.
Of this, I have no doubt. For yours is a light brilliant beyond measure. Long after I have gone, though not even my soul remaineth, my love will be with you forever, my dearest children.
So Hydaelyn is gone. One who set us on our path, and in a way we set her on hers. It's time to be like that, but her purpose done, she moves on. And we must go the final stretch. Glad to see you well. We could roughly place your souls. Deep as you went, we could neither see nor hear you. Fluctuations in your ether near the end gave me quite a fright. What in the world happened? You mean to say Hydaelyn is... No, there's no time to feel our feelings. We must carry out Hydaelyn's will without delay. We'll find Meteion if it's the last thing we do. If you wouldn't mind handing over the crystal, that is. The fancy navigatory one. The edge of the universe, where congregates the despair of countless stars. You are determined to see this through? We are. Should words fail us, we will fight to the bitter end. I know that it pains you to accept this. Would that I need ask nothing more of you. Yet we have only two means to travel the great expanse, the moon and Charleon's Ark. I am all too aware that without both of them there will be no exodus, but I nevertheless beg you to honor the agreement we made. The Forum's decision will be honored. You have earned the right to use the ship as you see fit, and I could not rescind it even if I wanted to. As it happens, I do not, and will do all in my power to aid your cause. With that settled, might I suggest you rest a while? Proving oneself to Heidelin is never easy, and despite our unparalleled genius, we'll need a day to make the necessary calculations. You may as well take advantage of it. And chart a course through the Sea of Stars in a single day? Ye gods. Shall we head above ground for some fresh air, then? And perhaps a nap. So, pay no mind to the glowing sword, because now it's time for a wardrobe change. Because my gay little heart has created the headcanon that Vana gives her her sword after that fight. Along with Azim's crystal, she's gifted the blade. Because I have very lesbian feelings about Vana. Wah! All the pretty girls in this game are dying! We're not gonna go much further. I had an idea of where to stop for the night, but we might not make it quite that far. We'll see. Ah, I've been expecting you. I heard about your foray into the ethereal sea. The students have ventured far and wide, but never quite so deep as that. Are you experiencing any after effects from your prolonged exposure? Nausea, dizziness, hauntings? Well, have a pleasant sleep. If you do experience any unusual phenomena, please let me know. I shall add it to our records. There will be no cute girls for Kin to flirt with. Okay, Yushtola is also an attractive woman, but like she's halfway out the door. She's blind as shit. Slowly dying.
There you are. Some time, indeed, yes. For you, at least. Believe me, I'd meant to get some proper sleep. But here we are, drifting along instead. Well, well, you too. And so we remain, to watch and wonder.
The voice of Hythlodaeus, but
yes,
who is he speaking
indeed.
to?
To begin, we first must see the end.
Hope it was a good stream, Grant. 10 hours do be a lot of hours. Kinliana, I trust you've had a good rest. An envoy of Master Fortuno's arrived not long ago with a message. The Loporrits have determined Medion's location. We've been asked to gather at the rostra. I'll meet you there, along with the others. Very nice, very nice. I've not played Genshin in many moons. Many, many moons. Yeah, I think the plan is to get to the next zone. I think, like, there's definitely a ton of cutscenes leading into that, but I want to get to the next zone, unless it's more further away than I think it is. Everyone appears to be present and accounted for. Good. As you know, Loporrits have deduced the whereabouts of Medion by means of a crystal bequeathed to us by Hydaelyn herself. Your quarry's location is in a place far beyond the moon, in the farthest reaches of the Sea of Stars, at the edge of creation. A veritable Ultima Thule. Indeed. How then are we to reach it? An excellent question. Luckily for you, I have an equally excellent answer. In theory, with its advanced propulsion system, the moon is capable of delivering you into Ultima Thule, but the myriad of other facilities housed within would greatly impede travel through the Sea of Stars. Even the Mother Crystal may not possess enough ether to bear so massive a vessel to our destination and back. However, if we integrate our Hyper Hopper into your ether burner, we should be able to fire things up and jump our way to the end of the universe in no time. Father, does this mean... Bear in mind, this decision was not made solely at my discretion, but with the consent of the Forum. Hearing the Loporrits' proposal, the Forum was faced with a grave decision. To commit the Ark to this endeavor would mean abandoning both our plans to evacuate to the moon and to resettle to another star. Needless to say, the proposition invited fierce debate. In the end, however, the Forum was swayed by the simple fact that Hydaelyn believed you possessed the strength needed to overcome this crisis. The Great Exodus was, after all, a plan of Hydaelyn's own making. Therefore, if in the 11th hour she would proffer another means by which we may seek salvation, we would be fools to dismiss it out of hand. Indeed, she sacrificed everything, her very existence, to avert the destruction of this star. That is why we have chosen to place our faith in Hydaelyn, in you. The Ark will be made ready for your voyage to Ultima Thule. What of all the people that have labored so tirelessly to prepare for the evacuation? They must be furious. I would not be so sure. They have not forgotten your deeds on the Magna Glacius. Nor did your instrumental role in orchestrating the delivery of adamantite go unnoticed. No, the people do not protest. Quite the contrary, they have expressed unwavering support for you and your mission. Are the Loporrits too willing to abandon the Exodus? Were you not listening when we said we were born of Hydaelyn's love for Aetheris and its people? If it means your survival, we would do anything to help. And you'll most certainly have need of our expertise where you're going. There's no guarantee Ultima Thule is a place that supports life, an otherwise vexing problem our know-how can remedy. Besides, Hydaelyn chose us to lead the way to Medion. Why else would she give you a crystal only we can decipher? But more importantly, we were perfectly content to evacuate Aetheris until you brought us here, Urianger, and now we're enamored with the place, so what choice do we have but to save it? Of course, none of this is possible without you and the Scions. But I must ask, are you certain you wish to do this? We'll avert the final days, whatever it takes. Very well, we shall inform the Forum of your decision and begin preparations to bolster the Ark with the, Hyper Hopper. The Loporrits will coordinate with the Ilsabard contingent and have the necessary components transported via the Tower of Babel. Of course, it will take time until the work is complete. For now, pray take your ease. It would seem there is naught to do but rest and prepare, shall we? Yeah, there is more cutscenes to get where I wanted to than I remember, because we have to, like, there's like a whole section here where we're like told to relax and people are going around town and stuff. So I think we're gonna call it there. I wanted to get to the next zone, but yeah, there's still, don't want to rush the down times between. But yeah, a lot happened today. A lot. A nice little over 2 hour sesh. Eidolon is gone, and Hermes has been sent to Oblivion, and we must go defeat Meteon at the edge of the world. Well, edge of the universe. Yeah, but we'll do that next time. I am going to go sleep, because I do be kind of tired. Tomorrow is Saturday, and Saturday is my free day, so who knows what's gonna happen. Maybe more of this, maybe more speedruns, maybe I just sleep all day. It's really up in the air, but I hope to see you there if I do something tomorrow. Thank you again for the host, Grand. I'm glad you had a fun stream, and thank you to anyone who might still be lurking. Have a good night, and see you next time. Go to bed, Grand. It's like 8 a.m. for you. That was an overestimate, I know. But